Eva, it's wonderful to be talking to you today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm ready to rip.
As always. I want to congratulate you not only on making the finale of Survivor, but for willing to put yourself out there and display everything for all to see, not only on a nationwide basis, but let's face it, people watch Survivor all over the world. What did it mean for you to do that? And did you have any trepidation about going on Survivor and letting people see you for how you are?
I knew going into the game that my autism would probably come up. Certainly it's something that impacts me greatly in my real life. It is part of who I am. And Survivor is this amazing game that reflects society. It reflects what our real lives are like. And so I knew that this was going to be a big thing.
Right.
My parents were a little worried. My mom was a little worried about me going out there, and that my parents have obviously seen me have episodes my whole life, and they're like,
Right.
how are you gonna feel when this is seen by the world? And I was like, you know what? Like, I have never let my autism get in the way of anything that I want to do. I'm not going to let it get in the way of this. And I was like, if this happens, if people see me at this lowest point, I know that I'll get out of it, and I know that I can do this, and I am ready for people to see it, because I think that it's important that people do
Right.
see what someone like me goes through, because nobody has ever shown this in such a big way before on national television. I certainly never had anyone growing up to look up to who
Yeah.
had a similar representation of autism that I have. And so being able to show this perspective in this time when there is so much misinformation, it
Right.
allows me to tell my story and give others something to root for and look up to and be inspired by. So I'm very proud of that.
Well, here in Canada, I mean, there's been some controversy back and forth. I mean, here, parents, if you're under 6 years old, you get $20,000 to take care of your children. If you're above six, the proposed change was to make it $5,000. So there was all sorts of protests. So we have a lot of challenges as far as that's concerned. Briefly, I want you to be able to use this and address what are some of the challenges there where you are when it comes to autism.
I think that there's been this stigma for a very
Right,
long time about the label of saying that someone has autism. That
right,
a lot of people, a lot of parents, and a lot of individuals who are diagnosed with autism believe that this label is bad, and that it means
right,
that there's something wrong with their kid and they don't want to put it on there. This label is a great thing because it gives you an insight into how you can help your child, how you can help yourself, how you can get these resources and understand yourself better. So when my parents found out that I had autism,
right.
instead of denying it, being being like, this is bad, this is wrong. No, like, my daughter doesn't have this. They were like, okay, she has autism. How can we support her? What can we do for her? And it is because of their support and their willingness to learn and understand that I was able to get so much help, so many different types of therapies, to learn these strategies to regulate in my life, that I have become so successful.
Yeah,
And I'm a big success story for these types of therapy, for early intervention. And everybody who has autism has a different experience, right?
right,
There are many
right,
ranges of abilities, but I believe no matter where someone falls on the autism spectrum, they can live a full, happy life within their abilities if they are supported and they are given the chance to believe in themselves. And so
yeah.
I think that this is something that is the most important message I can get out, that autism is not something wrong with you. It is part of who you are, and it makes you special, gives you challenges that are different than other people, but it also
Wow.
gives you strengths.
Now, speaking of support, I mean, we saw Joe out there, and he basically took you as along as his adopted daughter. You were able to lean on him. Tell us, I mean, obviously it meant a lot to you, but tell us how much deep inside that meant for him, for somebody to reach out to you there and say, and especially in such a cutthroat game to say, I'm going to be your rock, lean on me when you need to.
I think the beautiful thing about Joe is not that he came to me and he said, I'm gonna be here for you, like, you, I'll be your person. It was that I came to him and he accepted it with open arms. That
Right.
he saw me for who I am, and he understood me, and he was willing to be there for me. And so I called him to be this person, and he was. And he every day, I am so grateful for him and this relationship we have built, that this is an amazing man. And I am so glad that the world gets to see what a amazing human that he is, and that he he shows his emotional side
Right.
while still being strong. And that shows so much to men everywhere who believe that it's like, oh, you have to be this like kind of distant, like it's like, oh, like you can't show emotions. No, he shows his emotions all of the time, and that is part of what makes him so strong and just the picture of masculinity. Joe is an amazing man.
Well, that's it. I've always believed that emotions are part of being human, and that's not a weakness. That means you're strong and you're willing to put it out there. Now, at tribal council, you got more votes than Joe. Did you ever think that was going to happen?
I certainly did. I believed in myself. You know what? Joe and I, we played this game together. And we were this duo that
Right.
was seen by everybody. But I had concocted this view of our duo that Joe was the leader, that he was doing all the strategy, that this and that. Like I wanted everyone to, from the outside, see that Joe was the head so that they wouldn't come for me. But
Right.
really, we are collaborators in this. I had my own strategic side that I was doing some things that were a little different than Joe. I knew I had a story to tell that was different than his. And I believed in myself that I could win over him. But I knew that we came to this end together and we were not going to tear each other down. I know people wanted us, they wanted to see us come after each other finally after all this time. They were frustrated with us, but we refused to do that. We respect each other enough to say, we're going to argue why we should win, not why the other should lose. And that is what is so great about the two of us.
It was really a different finale for the series because of that. There was that mutual respect, as well as being competitive. Speaking of competitive, I mean, during the final tribal council, Kyle dropped his bombshell. What was your reaction to that? Because I mean, that was definitely threw a spanner in the works as you were sitting there, defending your game.
Yeah, so actually with this Kyle thing, it was unfortunate that it happened in the middle of me speaking because I didn't get to finish my point because Camilla, as I'm speaking on the Shaheen vote,
Yeah.
she shifts it to Kyle. I didn't get to finish saying that the reason that I was bringing this up was not that I orchestrated this thing with Shaheen, that he had an idol. I didn't believe that she had an idol. Camilla was the one who brought me that information, and Camilla's not my ally. I would never trust that. Kyle brought me the truth, which was that Shaheen had this plan that he had
Right.
brought to him about getting me and Joe out. And I took this and I said, okay, I have to turn on this ally man. I don't want to sit by Shaheen in the end. I
Right.
know that Shaheen is a schemy guy, that he's a good debater. I don't want to sit by him at that final tribal. I want to sit next to these people who I feel are my brothers, Joe and Kyle. And I had to then, my strategic move here was not orchestrating it. My move was convincing Joe that his best friend in this game was coming for him. And that was my move that I didn't get to speak on because Camilla
Um,
cut me off. And so it seemed that then my reaction was not that oh this was all like a fabricated like thing, like being like, oh my God, the idol. It was, my reaction was, I didn't know that Kyle and Camilla were that close. I'll be the first to stand up and say that because anybody in their exit press that has been saying they knew, they did not. Those two are the best actors I have ever seen. I am so proud of them for pulling that off.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a bombshell, and like their relationship, not a bombshell on the Shaheen move. I'm bombshell on the fact like I spent every day with Kyle. We were so close. Conversations that you see between Kyle and Camilla are the only conversations they have because the rest of the time, Kyle and I were out playing on the beach like kids. Like we were messing around. Like we are very similar humans, and so that is. I was not seeing this coming, and so yeah, that bombshell was amazing. They killed it.
Now, I think one of your superpowers that you displayed during the entire series is you seem to be the glue that held everybody together in that alliance. What was it like having to balance all those different personalities, all those different, oh, I want to go this way, I want to go that way. Because I felt for you during that, because here you are trying to come on, guys, keep it together.
Yeah, you're certainly referring to when there was that division between
Yeah.
Mary and David, whereas Kyle and Shaheen for me. And this was actually that was a very hard decision between them just because I'm trying to keep all these people together, but the way that David started acting towards my friends, not that we see that he's picking out Kyle and Camilla working together, but that he also, what you don't see is he's throwing like 37 other crazy theories around. They just show the one like a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So like they show the one that's correct to build this up with the whole narrative of those two together, but they don't show the way he was treating the people on the island. And even though I love David as a person, he just all of a sudden got very, very different. And I had to value the way that people respect each other, and he was not respecting my allies. So maybe it was a bad move in this game to get rid of someone who was so loyal to me,
Right.
but I had to do what I morally felt was right in this situation. And I knew there was avenues for me forward in this game because I had built these great relationships with so many people that I want these to be my four, this core four. And
Yeah.
in chopping off two of those people, Mary and David, who I love, met them at the swap. They're amazing. Chopping those off, I was able to
Right.
bring this four closer. And I told them when I showed them my safety without power, I showed them that to solidify this is the four I am working with, and
Right.
we're going to do this together. So creating this team mentality that I move forward in the game.
Yeah.
I might not have won Survivor, but my team did.
Right.
Kyle and Joe and I, we were a team. I said this is the final three I want. I said that way long time ago, and I got there with my team, and my team won. I might not have.
Now, obviously, we only get to see a portion of everybody's survivor journey. But is there anything that on the island, like, was there a moment or maybe strategy, maybe something that doesn't even have to do with the game? Was there anything that you wish people would have seen about your journey on the island?
I think first off, one thing that I had been frustrated with throughout the season was that they were not showing my strategic side, right? We do not see any of the strategic conversations between me and Joe. You don't see any of the
Oh,
strategic conversations between me and Kyle, me and Shaheen.
true.
But then you never see the four of us talking as a group, and we always did. We very strategic. We often were talking about these things. They don't show any of that. And I was very frustrated with this for a long time. But now after watching the finale, I understand that they were allowing the audience to watch Final Tribal in the same way that the jury did, and
Right.
that the audience was not aware of these layers to myself, to these that I'm a three-dimensional character. They were not aware of this, and so me coming at Final Tribal and now putting this out in the open, they got to experience it like the jury did, and it was
Right.
surprising and shocking. So that was surprisingly something I'm not upset that wasn't shown, but I am sad that they did not show my relationships with other people than Joe. Joe and I have this amazing relationship. That is huge. But there's a reason I went on every reward except the family letters. I didn't want family letters. I said, no, I don't want to go on that one. But I went on every single other reward, and it's because of these relationships I built in this game. That Kyle is legitimately family to me. I call him every day. He is like my brother. I
Oh,
went to his wedding right after we got back from Survivor, and that's the first wedding I've ever cried at because he's family to me. Camilla, we had no strategic relationship, but she brought me on two rewards
yeah.
because there were, yes, it was good for her game for different reasons, but also we had this bond about food specifically that the two of us would name foods for hours and hours and hours, and no one else wanted to talk about food. They're like, no, it makes me nauseous. Camilla and I would talk for hours. We had this great connection. People like Mary, that they show me breaking up with Mary after we vote David out, but
Yeah.
they don't show the relationship that we had, that we were very, very close as well. And so all these relationships that I'm like, my social game was my biggest weapon, and they didn't show it.
Now, what you didn't also maybe not know is what we saw last night with Kyle having this ethical debate about whether he should put you in fire or not. Um, if knowing the competitor you are, if he had come to you and said, "Look, I'm going to take your place," what would your response have been?
He did. He did come to me. He did
Yeah.
come. He said,
Wow.
like, he came to me. He said, Eva, I'll do it for you. Like, he
Yeah.
came. But I was there with Joe. I was very, very distraught. I was having one of my episodes because
Right.
this feeling of a failure. Not like I could build a fire, right? Like I knew how to build a fire. It was these pressure in my head that had built that I was a failure, and I was so down and out. And both, you see, Joe offers to do it for me. I say no to Joe. Kyle comes. He brought me a little snail that he found as a like
Oh.
a thing to cheer me up. He's like, I found this little snail, and please, yeah, yeah. He was like, please, Eva, like I will do this instead of you. Like I'll take Camilla out. And I was like, no, Kyle, I will not let you take this away from me. And he knew that I'm never budging on something
Right.
once my mind is set. And so yeah, he did come to me. I said, no
Wow.
way in hell am I letting you take this moment away from me. I am going to do it.
Now, obviously, you went through a lot when you were out there. You know, Survivor has its ups, Survivor has its downs. Would you go out there and do that again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I lost. I am very competitive. I want to win. I want to go back. Yes, I went to the end with a team, and my
Right.
team won. I picked these three people. My team won. I lost. I
Yeah.
want to win. I want to go back and I want to do it again.
Now, one thing that was my final question here, but one thing that was interesting to me is like in the new era of Survivor, usually athletes, usually people who are good at the challenges get targeted quite easily and they're booted out. This time, you guys turned things around and you stood up for the athletes. What did that mean to you to be able to take those people who had shared that commonality and say, look, we're taking control of this game?
Yeah, it was really like very fun to compete against these like-minded competitors because yeah, being an athlete like it's
Yeah.
for me, I'm a very team-oriented person. Like we see that I pick this team, I go to the end with
Yeah.
them. Even though I like in Survivor so often people want to be going through the game with a goat that they can bring to the end and get zero
Right.
votes. I'm such a loyal and competitive person that I was like, I'm going to be loyal to these people who are strong competitors, that we protect each other because you can't just take out like one challenge threat. That we're all challenge threats, you know? Like it is it was so amazing to have that relationship and this just like-mindedness of that like together we're gonna do this and we're all got a lot of muscle out there.
Well, Eva, it was wonderful talking to you today. It was also wonderful watching you on the season and everything that you went through, all the ups and downs. It's amazing and brave that you were able to put yourself out there. And I hope that, hey, maybe your survivor journey isn't over just yet. You never know.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and all the best of luck in the future.
Thank you.